The design we see here is essentially complete and we'd like to present it to the client. Notice the tab at the bottom of the drawing area here labelled model. This is a space known as model space, and to present the design we go to format and set up a layout and click this little option here. Let's imagine that this particular design group have access to an A3 printer, and I'll set it up in landscape. So what I'm doing is setting up a new space, and I'll click OK here and OK again. Notice now that the title changes to Layout 2. If we jump to Layout 2, I can right click and zoom extents. If I measure using our distance tool from one side of the sheet to the other, it's 420 millimeters. It's the size of an A3 sheet. Notice that I use zoom extents to see the whole design. Notice this entity here, which is referred to as a floating viewport, and that's showing the design. We'd like to add a title block to it. Oh, the other thing I meant to point out is that this is set up automatically and it gives you a view scale of 38. You can change that and give that a 50 or a 20 or whatever, have a fixed scale. But here, this is simply to show the client the concept that this design and construct group are presenting. So we need to add a title block, and GCAD Plus has a whole series of title blocks under details, and you can scroll down and find scale bars and title blocks and so on. But I have here access to a specialized one for this group showing their logo. So I can click the blocks option and that will pop up this little list. There's already one in the drawing called Midcoast and logo. I could have browsed to it, but I can now insert it into the drawing, and the logo and drawing information comes in. So if we zoom extents again, there's our developing drawing. There's a grid down the bottom of the status line. I'm going to turn it off. The other thing is that our sense of proportion is a little wrong, and I think we can take that block. It's currently a scale of 2, and we can, a scale of 1, and we can increase it to 2. And now move across like so. If I zoom extents again, that's starting to look reasonable. Notice that the floating viewport there creates some confusion as far as it interacts with the title block. What you can do is select it and change its color, and we can make it color 255. So the floating viewport is still showing the design, sitting there laid out nicely. We can see the logo and the other information about this particular job that's been filled out. You can edit it by selecting it and right clicking it. So any of this is currently not to scale on an A3 sheet, and the drawing is core 5 bit proposal T.LCD, and I can right click and close the block editor. The company here has made a little title block with a curving side to it. So you could now, to keep things consistent, you could draw a rectangle and pick somewhere here, and I'd go about there, and then select that rectangle and give the corner radius a value. Let's call it 10, and let's also change its line weight, and we'll give it a relatively thick line weight. And if you now zoom in, can you see the curving corner of the rectangle and the title block itself matches reasonably well? So zoom extents. So I'm now ready to print and send this concept design off to a client. And to print it, its file and save as PDF, I'm going to pick a window and a maximum. I'd like high resolution, and so I just pick outside the area, and that will create a new, I'm overwriting a test one, that'll create a PDF version of this design quickly and easily. And there we are. Nice fine printing, and everything's very clear. I did mention that this is not to scale, but the drawing itself included an accurate scale bar from 0 to 5 meters. So stamped on the piece of A3 paper will be, this is not to scale, but there's an internal scale in there which can be used to give a sense of size. So hopefully that completes this very quick step-by-step demonstration how you might use GK+ to produce quite a simple concept drawing, but we've taken you through most of the steps in the process.